Alright, day 2 of this mess with the baler. Overnight delivery just showed up with, what, 5 boxes? Yeah. 4 boxes and the shaft that twisted off. I don't think I've got the right parts all just yet. Oop, I know I don't. I'm missing a bunch of bands. This is the cause of this problem. This bearing locked up. And when it locked up, it did not spin inside of the flange like normal bearings would. It locked up tight, which, you know, whatever. And that's what caused the thing to twist off down at the other end. Now, I'm having a little bit of trouble getting this thing loose. It just doesn't want to come loose. So I'm going to end up torching that off of there, which isn't that big a deal. And I'm done torching it. I'll be able to knock that bearing off of there, because it's junk anyway. And I'll save my sprocket and my gib key there. And should be able to slide these things right the heck off of there, which shouldn't be too hard. I got to save the little keyways, they're okay. And go from there, start putting this bad boy back together. Now, we're going to mow hay today, even though there's threat of showers. I don't care. I got to get this stuff going. This is just a balls to the wall, get her done type of a deal going on here. So, anyway, I'll get this stuff unboxed and see what I've got and see what I need, and hopefully I've got at least one bearing. If I got one bearing, I think I got a spare over here in the parts bins, and I can get started putting that thing together. So, here we go. Okay, well, I'm working on the baler here, trying to get this header back together. It's day 3. I broke it on Sunday. It's now Wednesday, so this would be day 3 of the repair. It's taking an extraordinarily large amount of time. I haven't been working solid on it, maybe a couple hours here and there, just trying to get it back together. But anyway, this is what took so long, is I had to take, these were broken, and I had welded the bolts in so that it wouldn't tear loose from the cam. So I had to do that. And one of these bearings here was worn really bad. This one here was worn really bad, so I flipped the washer and I put a retaining cement in there. See that? And what that stuff does, it fills in the large gaps in the slip fit. So at least that's what it says, slip fit. But it fills in the large gap and actually creates a steel tough filler in behind there so that it won't loosen up. And the other bar, this bar here, I was missing that heavy duty washer there. So I added a flat washer, gap filler inside, and a new bushing to take the bearing. Now this bearing is brand new. I put it in there this past winter. And of course the gap filler. But I also had to tear this one down and put a new keeper on there for that bearing. The other thing was, which took me some time, was this one actually has a new bearing too, because the old one was cracked. What do I got? 3 of them new on there? Oh, this was last winter's deal. But anyway, I had to go buy new keys, the cotter pins for in there. And to do this properly, you gotta get this all put together, everything here, these plates tightened down to the new shaft. It's a 1 3/8 inch shaft. All these bars, if they're bent, they need to be straightened out, and they do bend, by the way. And you have to get these pickup tines centered. This one's a little bit off, but well, it's just the way. It's as centered as, see that one's perfect. Anyway, you got to get those centered. So I put these 3 bands on here to get that centered in the slot there, and then you have to tighten that retaining ring there on the bearing. Now these bearings, I replaced these bearings last winter when I had this, or last summer when I had this thing apart. The last time I twisted that shaft off, the problem was on the other side. That bearing on the other end had seized up and caused it to, well, it locked up, and then of course it caused the sprocket, the the torque to twist off the shaft. So that's, you know, it's kind of a, I think it's just a shitty design myself, but anyway, I'm just getting ready to put the sprocket back in its position, which I'm not sure whether I'm going to get that this direction or not. Might have to take that gib key back out and flip it. But for the most part, everything is going back together quite well. I got a bunch of new bands, 20 of them to be honest with you. There's $200 worth of them damn things. They're made out of toilet paper, very thin metal. Amounts to toilet paper anyhow. But yeah, so that's why it took so long, was because I actually had to take every single one of these tines off all the way down. I had to replace those bearings, new cotter pins, which took me a little while to obtain. I had to replace teeth, the pickup tines themselves on several here in the center. That's where they usually break up. But now, as you can see, it turns very, very easily, just the way it's supposed to. But guess what? I blew the seals just because I want to be sure that there's going to be grease in that thing. This is a very dirty, dusty, miserable environment for them things to run in. And then I have a grease zerk in them. Well, that's just plain ridiculous. So anyway, so that's what I found. And I think that last year when I replaced these bearings, I didn't put grease in them. Just because I didn't think that I needed to. They were factory. They came from New Holland. So, you know, if they're selling a bearing that's supposed to be a sealed bearing, you'd think they'd put enough grease in it to make it last. But apparently they don't. Now, oh, here's one. You can see that hole? That's what I got to deal with. Now, this one here, that's another one that I replaced last year, and it's dry. So I'm going to grease it right now, as a matter of fact.